A female cheetah and her 4 cubs were pelted with stones on March 24th as they strayed outside Kuno National Park and tried to hunt a calf. The incident occurred in Madhya Pradesh's Shiopur district, where cheetahs from the Africa were introduced as part of the Project Cheetah. These visuals clearly show that the villagers came out and they were pelting stones. Instead of protecting themselves and moving away, they attacked the wildlife. Now, this is one of the most successful projects that India has ever taken of relocating a big cat, which 100 years ago went extinct. So, in a way, the project boasts of success. But then, why have these cheetahs strayed? Why did the family of the cheetahs came out? This project has been piloted by the center, and it has been pretty much successful. But if you look at these visuals, the cheetah came out and was going for a easy prey, which is cattle. And then the villagers came out and started attacking them. I am joined by Joseph Hoover, wildlife conservationist, environmental activist and former member, State Board of Wildlife Karnataka. So my question to you is, do we make something significant of this straying that has happened? Is it because of the prey base, or is it because of the fact that cattle is an easy prey?
See, the point here is they allowed the cheetahs out of their enclosures very recently on February 21st. So these are now ventured out into the forest landscape. They have been hunting deer and other sinkar, other species. So the cubs along with the mother have stepped away from the forest fringe and come into the village. So when they see any prey for them, it's just that chase it down and kill it, and then they enjoy eating that. Here, what I feel is the authorities who are looking after this, they should have been tracking these cheetahs because they're on radio collar. They failed in this. What if one of the cheetahs had been killed today? It would have been big news across the world. This could have been avoided. Now, see, the sad part is what they did in this particular area where the cheetahs were released. They captured our leopards there, endemic leopards, and went and released them somewhere else. We lost 2 leopards because of infighting. So on one end, you have lost your own leopards, endemic species, and you brought exotic cheetahs. You want to introduce them in the country where it has been from the 1930s was the last when we had these. Also, they were also exotic cheetahs, not that India had cheetahs. So when such a project is taken up, every care should be taken. But somehow, whatever the interests of the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change and the pet project of Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the people responsible for this should have been all the more careful, because this definitely leads to a lot of negativity. Just imagine you brought in cheetahs from Namibia and South Africa, you have kept them in enclosures, and then you set them free, and then they come out into the village, and then people stone and kill them. Thank God it did not happen. But here again, what we need to understand is that when we take up such projects, which are definitely not going to be a great success in the future, at this point in time, it looks good because everybody is saying, okay, I've done this, I'm happy about that. But in the long run, this is definitely not going to help the cheetahs there, because they live in the savanna grasslands. When they chase down prey, they run for at least about 300-400 meters before they bring down a prey. In this habitat, it's not that. There are bushes, there are trees, there are rocks, so it's a different terrain. So if at all cheetahs do succeed in India, that'll be one of the most successful projects ever.
But sir, then how did cheetahs, in terms of history, then how did cheetahs survive 100 years, 150 years, 200 years ago?
See, these again were brought in by the Maharajas as pets. In fact, I had an uncle who had also cheetahs in Bangalore. So if you look at it, they brought them as pets, and then what happened? They could not hold them on, and they let them free. And if you look at, there are only certain areas cheetahs were there. So it's not that we had cheetahs. Cheetahs were brought in as pets, as exotic species, and they were kept as pets by Maharajas and all the rich people. So when you look at that, that was a different scenario. When India's population was not big, forests were much more than what it is today. So they could survive to a certain time. But now the challenge is, how do we keep these cheetahs safe? Especially now they're going to stray out.
How do we keep our cheetahs safe?
See, this is because they've allowed them out of their enclosures. We should understand these cheetahs were all hand-fed. They're not wild caught cheetahs as such. They were all in conservation reserves where they've been looked after by people. Those were brought here. These are not wild as wild cheetahs. So now what happens? They've kept them in enclosures, and then they said, okay, now it's time to release them in the wild. So they release them. So cheetahs are bound to come out here and there because for them, anything is prey. If they find a calf, they'll definitely go for it. If they see a sheep or a goat, they'll definitely go for it. So they have the freedom now. They were all the time enclosed. They were all kept in captivity. Now they've got the freedom. They're moving around. They're exploring their habitat. And they're also going to mark their territory because there are so many cheetahs which have been released. If you remember, there are almost about 11 to 14 cheetahs which have been released. So each one has to have a territory. When Jala has 5 number of cubs, so she will love to create a territory so that her cubs are safe. These are already just about 11-month-old cubs. So it's going to take a while before she weans them, and then they.
Are you saying that overpopulation will also become an issue in case the program becomes very successful?
See, survival in the wild, even if you talk about tiger population, when they have the cubs, all tigers don't survive. If a tiger delivers about 4 cubs, if they 2 survives, it's big. Similarly with leopards, all other wildlife species. So what happens in this case is the cheetah is not that strong a carnivore as the leopard or the tiger or the lion. So they could be hunted down. If you look at what happens in Africa, cheetahs are hunted down by the lions. Pride of lions will take them down. They just kill them because they're competing for prey. It's like I and you are competing for a piece of cake. So I would you rather kill me or I rather kill you so that I have my cup of tea or you have your cup of cake. So that's the way it is in the wild. It's survival of the fittest. So I would want all the members involved, all the authorities involved in this project to ensure such things don't happen because this was a very bad impact on our conservation programs. First of all, this should not have been done. To be honest with you, this should not have been taken up. Anyway, now it is taken up. 100 crore has been spent on this. Our tiger funds were also diverted here. So now when all this has been done, it is the responsibility of that particular authority, the National Tiger Conservation Authority and Project Cheetah. They need to ensure that does not happen and we have to ensure these cheetahs are alive.
Okay.
So Prime Minister Modi wanted them. At least now it's the responsibility of the people who have been given the job to ensure that everything is
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sir, thank you so much. I'm really running short of time, but in the short moment you were there with us, you precisely summed it up very well. It's going to be a challenging and a daunting task because ultimate conservation in India requires support of the local communities. It's not like Africa and America where vast swaths of land where people don't live, but in India, environment, wildlife, they closely interact with the human population and it will require some sort of I would say coaching or some sort of relationship which exists in other places like Corbett or Penge.